So a couple days back, Reza Studios released the Chevrolet Corvette C4 GTP for Automobilista 2. All this is a late-stage Group C prototype based on the Chevrolet Corvette C4 street car. If you squint, you can kind of see the resemblance. It raced in the IMSA GTP class for a few seasons in the late 1980s. It won a handful of races, but it was retired by, I believe, 1990, so it didn't stick around for very long. I was really hyped when Reza announced they're making this car for AMS2. It's something different compared to the standard array of Group C cars seen in other racing sims such as the Sauber C9 or the Porsche 962C, but after driving it I've just been left bummed out. Somehow this far into the sim racing industry's lifespan and with tracks built with surveying technology, developers have no interest in making sure their cars turn accurate lap times. The characteristics of the C4 GTP and Automobilista 2 are firmly in fantasy land. In fact, I first noticed something was amiss with this car, not by consulting lap times, because look, I live in Canada, I'm not an encyclopedia of 80s sports car racing by any means, but in just turning laps in qualifying trim and noticing, man, my eyes are getting tired driving this thing, and it's carrying a lot of lateral G's through high-speed corners, and the car is like trying to shake itself off the racetrack. And as a result, the cockpit vibration effects were going crazy. It was like I was driving in fast forward. Anyways, I pushed through it because I love Group C cars, so I sat down, I built a decent qualifying trim setup, and then attacked the leaderboards in AMS2, and right now I'm sitting number one overall across all Group C cars with, I believe, a very high 148.9. There's for sure more in it, but this is just to show you guys that yes, I did actually spend some time with this car. Some sim racing YouTube channels out there literally do not touch a setup. They just hit the record button, jump in the car, turn 3 laps, call it a day, and press upload. I don't do that. So then I started getting a little curious as to how this car actually performed in real life, and let's be honest, I was just taking a dump and needed something to read. There's a site called racingsportscars.com that's pretty easy to find, and it just has archive results of every single sports car race that you could probably think of from a major racing series. Their search filter is really easy to use. I just sorted by IMSA races at Road America spanning from 1985 to 1990 when this car was active, and it just handed me everything. What I found was pretty fucking ridiculous. The Corvette C4 GTP sat on the pole for the 1986 IMSA race at Road America with a time of 1 minute and 58 seconds. That means the car as it's depicted in Automobilista 2 is a whopping 10 seconds faster than the real thing. You know how I described the car as driving in fast forward? That's because you actually are. Now, some could probably make the argument that, hey, the C4 as it appears in Automobilista 2 is actually based on late-stage GTP specs, or, for lack of a better word, how the car performed at the end of its lifespan. So I looked up the results again for qualifying for the 1989 IMSA race at Road America. The pole sitter was a Jaguar XJR9 that only pulled off a 155.8 with the Nissan GTP ZXT that dominated everyone over the next season and a half, clocking in at a 156. We're still 8 seconds a lap faster than the most dominant car of the era. This reference material was super easy for me to find. It took all of 30 seconds on Google while I was taking a shit, and there's actually footage of these races on YouTube in full. Even with just the eyeball test, you can physically see that these cars are not rocketing around this joint the way they do in Automobilista 2. I'm not sitting here complaining that the optimal tire pressure is 1 psi off compared to the real thing. I'm saying that this team released paid DLC without even consulting the most basic of reference material, and the car is turning laps 10 seconds faster than the real thing. It's just complete nonsense. Now, in trying to slow the car down to real-life speeds, I filled it full of fuel, I opened all the ducts in the radiator, and I put hard compound tires on it instead of the soft qualifying tires, and even still, I was still almost 2 seconds a lap quicker than the 1989 pole speed, and then 6 seconds a lap quicker than the car's actual pole speed back in 1986. It's absurd that something like this wasn't caught and nobody said, hey, we should probably do something about this. But before you go doggy pile on Reza, which they honestly don't deserve it here, this is an industry-wide thing that more and more people are starting to become aware of. If you go over to the iRacing subreddit, there's a thread from February of this year where someone asked the question, why are all the cars in iRacing several seconds per lap quicker than the real thing? With the various sim developers trying to one-up each other regarding how advanced their physics systems are, we've basically all lost the plot, and something as simple as lap times, nobody can get right. Now, why is this a problem and why am I bringing it up? A slower lap time generally means the car is a little easier for you to drive. A lot of you who swear off cars in certain road racing sims or oval racing sims because they're just too fast for you or too much car for you, if the developers actually put in the effort to making sure they slowed the cars down and matched their real world lap times, a lot of these cars might actually be approachable for you.